Metal fans, welcome to Graphic Metal, where metal is celebrated with design in mind. Today, I'm giving you my highly anticipated top 12 doom metal albums of 2022. As a metal fan, and so many of you out there, I'm sure you too listen to a diverse range of different subgenres. And comparing a alternative rock album with a progressive doom metal album is just, it's not fair. It's not apples to apples. It's just impossible to do. So what I found is much more effective is rather to think of it as the subgenres of metal themselves. So I've broken it down into alt, black, blues, death, doom, electronic, metal, rock, prog, and thrash. Each of them receiving 12 slots. So it's 12 best albums within the subgenre, making a grand total of 120 albums. Usually I focus on these set of criteria. So I focus on obviously music, that is, the product that's actually being sold to me as a consumer. So of course, how effective each member is at their craft is a big deal. The production, how it sounds, how it's edited, produced, packaged, and so forth. Emotion, right? We are emotional creatures. So emotion and how you feel towards it is very important. Branding, we talk a lot about on this channel. It's, how relatable and effective the story, the brand, the design, the entire essence of what it's trying to represent and how effective it is at communicating that. And last but not least is originality. It may be an unbelievable album, but it will get docked if I feel like it's not the most revolutionary. At the end of the day, I'm looking for creativity and innovation. That is something I strive for all bands and musicians. That's a big part of art, right? It's just consistently evolving and progressing. And without further ado, here is Graphic Metal's top 12 doom metal albums of 2022. That was the song Monuments to Ruin. It is off of the number 12 album of 2022 entitled Live at the Hallowed Halls by High-Tone Son of a Bitch. Yeah, we'll do that one more time. High-Tone Son of a Bitch. One hell of a band name, title. Although I gotta admit, boys, I'm not sure if it should be your band name. It's a great song lyric or a title to a song, but I don't know it really is a band name. I just questioning that. They hail from Oakland, California. Shout out. I lived there for 6 years. Music, the band has great chemistry. They feed off of one another really well. They have like the classic stoner rock, soothing riffs, the fading solos, the pumbling, clean bass, and a reputable vocalist, actually. And for a live recording, it's actually pretty damn good. It also has this extra layer of an echo and synthesizer layers in the background, which really adds to the eerie vibe as if you were like hanging out, listening to them in an abandoned church, which is really how it elevates, because there's no revolutionary new techniques here. This is pretty much your standard blueprint found in most stoner rock albums. But again, it's just that the way it's produced, the way that they feed off of one another, and just the ability to create that extra eerie vibe is what ultimately elevates them up to this point. Caius being in a similar band, Acid Bath, A Touch of Black Label Society, and Corrosion of Conformity. So on to the next. That was the song entitled Mars. It's off of album number 11, entitled Oscillator Part 2 by the band Bong Tower. It's their fourth album and the second part of a concept series by this mostly obscure, low-key, like four-piece band from Stavropol, Russia. It makes this list because of its killer concept. The concept, it's taking you on a ride, a journey. It's putting you into a spacecraft and it's shooting you up into space so you can just ride the stars. Interwoven between songs that are basically as if like they're space log mission recordings, in addition to then the representations of each pillar within the journey, which is really AK planets. So it's just a really badass concept. It really takes you and puts you in a place. It's great. It's a great background. It's really one of those that you really do want to listen to the entire album. And the other huge standout is that the fact that the production is fantastic. The tuning, the vibration on every pulled chord. I mean, it hits you like that spaceship engine just taking flight. You really do feel the shaking of your speakers. It's awesome. Also, the band name, man, like awesome. They got that down in spades. Kudos to them for that. But the graphics, could be improved. With such an interesting concept, I even can start, brainstorming all sorts of interesting ideas. But unfortunately, the album looks like it was designed by like a high school student taking their very first graphic design class. That was the song Dark Horse, and it's off of album number 10, Close, by Mesa, with 2 S's. It's their third album, and already they have built an incredible cult following. This is one of my favorite bands, just within the stoner, doom, prog subgenres. They hail from Vento, Italy. Musically, they definitely bring some of their culture and just energy from that into their music. The talent is undeniable from this band. It's a fusion of all sorts of things. It has the blueprint of the doom metal, but it adds classic rock, blues, jazz, tribal, prog, you name it. It changes tempo all the time. From the slow, atmospheric to up-tempo rocking moments. And of course, the incredible voice of their front woman, Sarah. To add with the vibe of the branding, not to the extent of Ghost, but they do want to keep the mystery alive within their branding. They also bring a lot of poetry and abstraction into their themes. So they actually go off of just their first name, so Sarah. The production, as always, with all three of their albums, have been top-notch. It feels like you're being transported to 1972. It kind of just produces that kind of soundscape that they usually are trying to go for. A lot of interesting moments where like you don't know if they're going to be taking you to a dark room with like a saxophone piece happening, or Sarah goes off on a beautiful like poetic spoken word, or apparently they're even willing to take you on a death metal trip with Left Off Trek, which is like literally it should have probably been left off. It's the second to last song on it, and it really does kind of feel out of place. But then they'll reshift you back to like taken to an isolated desert and just some tribal drumming going on. It's just like they really take you on an adventure, and they're not afraid to really just explore and to experiment. That's really the reason why, along with their talent, why they're one of my favorite new bands. Branding, they have that down in spades. They've always had this, just I've had the good fortune of seeing them live, and like even that, like you can tell like they understand who they are, what they're trying to represent, and how to communicate that. That was a song, Prima. It's off of album number 9, Atma, by My Sleeping Karma. Psychedelic riffs accompanied by electronic soundscapes. What more can soothe your soul? 6th album by this 4-piece. It's an instrumental band. I'm not even going to try to pronunciate the town that they're from Germany. They got a unique style that's going for them. Is that they combine this really interesting like electronic soundscape, and it fused with a very simple like psychedelic rock palette, and it fuels. It's almost like it fuels your karma, right? Or as the album would try to depict, with the elephant's husk, like it might be broken, but we have the energy within to just feed it, piece it back together to as a spiritual energy of a collective of us together, which is fueled ultimately by the energy found within listening to this band. It did change my mood from time to time. When I don't always want to listen to raw heavy, right? Sometimes you want to just chill, relax, and just enjoy like your peaceful nature and existence. And so the simplicity is very welcoming. One musical ear to another, I think it's just got a really refreshing, soothing vibe to it, and I'm all for it. Be zenful. That was the song Creed, and it's off of album number 8, entitled Dwell in the Fog by Fire Breather. Who doesn't want to ride a 2-headed demon horse? I know I frickin' do. It's a 3-piece band from Gotham, Sweden, just was formed in 2016. This is their 3rd album, and I would say it was a pretty big leap up from their first 2 albums in pretty much every aspect. I describe the band as it's like taking the stylistic version of a modern Mastodon, but bumping up the heaviness. It's like taking a hike, going for a ride, getting there, finding a peaceful spot, cracking open that beer, and just blasting this. That's pretty much all you need to know about this album. It really keeps things otherwise pretty standard, but it's just packaged incredibly effectively. And its greatest asset is the fact that there's really no weak moment. It's just through and through, just great, stoner metal. I'd be shocked if I didn't find out that Nicolas Cage didn't listen to this album to, train and to get into character for his role, Mandy. I feel like that is their essence. Production, solid B. Emotion, B. Branding is definitely one of their strengths. I love the band name. And again, I told you about the album cover. But yeah, they're definitely got a lot of good things going for them. So keep on rocking. That was the song Beyond the Machine, and it's off of album number 7, A Flourishing Fall and a Grain of Sand, by the band Humano. Do not ask me what the is the actual interpretation supposed to mean of the album title, let alone most of the lyrics. But it is wicked cool to ponder like the headline for like the marketing of this ad. It's like Einstein rocks. Like I bet you anything Einstein probably would like rock out to this as he was creating one of his many killer concepts. It's a thinker stoner rock album for sure. It's not the best album overall. Vocals in particular are very much a hit or miss. It also lacks some iconic melodies, but because of the fact that this is your thinker, this is more of your prog. As one who listens to a lot of prog, I'm lenient because I respect the fact that you're going for more exploration and just, wandering and being creative. And so you're not always going to get everything right. With that said, though, the last three songs on that disc are incredible highlights. The last song in particular, which is Even Though, I freaking love it. It's definitely one of my songs of the year. I listen to it a lot. But all three, Scrolls for the Blind, in addition to Beyond the Machine, which we were playing, those three are just incredible. And it's actually interesting because not too often do you feel like an album just keeps picking up steam and getting better and better as it goes along. And this is definitely one of those. So yeah, overall, I give it like a B plus. Music is B plus. Production is an A minus. Branding is a B plus. They're definitely going for like this. Again, the poetry is what they're trying to go. So like think Salvador Dali kind of is like what their thematic style that they really go for, which I think suits them really well. So overall, I give it a B plus. That was the song Triptych by album number 6, Hadean Tales by the band Assumption. You shall not pass. Gandalf would have been proud to have listened to this album to prepare for that scene. This is the album for every demon from the underworld. It's like they have to listen to that in order to be inducted into the family. It's by far the heaviest album on this list. The album really reminded me of this album I used to listen to all the time in the late 90s that I cannot for the life of me remember. Please, Rick, help me. It's annoying me, right? But honestly, if you plan to read Dante's Inferno anytime soon, I highly recommend, preparing your soul for that dark journey by listening to this album. And also, is Triptych the best metal song of this year? If you're familiar with the album Monotheist by the bands Celtic Frost, that's particularly where this song should have lived. Overall, mostly thanks to then those songs, Triptych and Breath of the Dallas, which really bumps up the creativity department in this album. Otherwise, it's pretty much your standard, almost like death, doom metal album. Again, definitely dark, definitely heavy. So if you're ready for that, want to go there, this is your album. That was the song Reptile Empire. It's off of album number 5, Portals by Astrosaur. Listening to the song Eternal Return damn well make you live on eternally. This album makes the list because of the album cover alone. Kidding, not kidding. It may be the best designed album cover of the year. It perfectly blends the simplicity of powerful graphics overlaid by, like, really, they're just really kick-ass band logo. And it also nails the essence of this album as good as any other concept possibly could have. It's absolutely eternally great. Let's just, get also straight to it. The epic song, Eternal Return, is an absolute masterpiece. Clocking in at just a short 23 minutes and 34 seconds, it is well worth every single second. Much like this album and the song, its greatest strength is its versatility. In particular, just the range that they're willing to blend, the tempo changes, the relationship between the band members, three of them. It's like fine red wine, drinking that while you slow cook an amazing burger that you made with your bare hands. It's, like I said, it's an instrumental three-piece band from Oslo, Norway. This is their third album, and I highly recommend it for anyone who likes ISIS, Russian Circles, or any of the classic instrumental prog metal bands. Production, emotion, branding, it's all frickin' A. And even originality, I give it a B+. This is a heavily played album for me, and I highly recommend it. It's unbelievable. Cheers. That was the song Raw. It's off of album number 4, Myriad, by, not sure how I pronounce it. It's all capital Gaupa, Gaupa. But better way to think of it is Bjork Sabbath, a lucky pussy. Okay, actually, no, your mind out of the gutter. This album is like trying to hypnotize your cat into thinking that you're actually a witch and that you're trying to grant him or her magical powers. They also have a thing for cats, what can I say? This album is just wicked fun, regardless. It's like a pre-party to an ayahuasca trip. It's definitely by far the most danceable album on this list within the subgenre. They're here to just have a great time, man. It's a big part of how they pull it off, because they have a pretty simple delivery, to be honest, but it comes packaged in a very surreal way. They're heavy in their poetic symbolism, in their lyrics, their theming. They're also bringing in a lot more mystery. They're very artistic. Just look at their music videos, just uberly creative. And I can't wait. I always am looking forward to anything that they produce because of that reason. The album cover is great. It's also the first time being introduced to the band and actually the city where they're from. I never heard of Falun, Sweden. So we learn things every single day, right? But overall, it's just an A. Music, production, emotion, branding, originality. It's an even Steven A. Definitely recommend them, especially for you creative types. That was the song Logic Bomb. It's off of album number 3, The Harvest, by Mammoth Weed Wizzard Bastard. I'm going to say it one more time. Mammoth Weed Wizzard Bastard. Petition, and I'll be the first to sign it, needs to be made to make this album the official soundtrack to Stranger Things. Just saying. And yeah, you did hear that correctly. That is their band name. I do also wonder how they came up with it. because part of me thinks like, okay, they just like start listing all the things that they love, you know, like mammoths, weed, and wizards. Like that makes sense, but then bastards, what kind of throws it off. But these guys, you know, they have the branding down, hence the name. I mean, you know that you're looking at a very creative set of people when you title your band like that. Their album covers are always amazing. Just their branding, their themology is top notch. That, but the thing is, that's up to this point been really their only strength. The music didn't really catch up to their branding until now. It's definitely one of the best overall albums because of its overall theme, its blend, its concept. It's a mysterious, trippy but killer album. And it's also interesting because they hail from Wrexham, UK, which is actually the same small town as Rob McElhenney and Ryan Reynolds actually randomly decided to purchase and now manage the Wrexham Football Club. So hey, check out Welcome to Wrexham on Hulu if you want to learn more about where these MWWB is from, and maybe you just may spot these bastards, right? But overall, I love everything about this album. The ability, like I said, to blend the soundscapes, and it's just a really damn good story. It's really creative. It's like a damn good cup of coffee. Thanks, Dale Cooper. Yeah. That was the song Ceremonial Aspersion off of album number 2, boys. We're getting there. It's Blinded by the Wicked by Haze Maze. There is absolutely nothing hazy about the way this album makes you feel. God damn, do they know how to rock. The riffs, oh, look, anyone that listens to the realm of stoner doom metal, which is doom metal for that matter, knows the importance of riffs. And these 3 boys from Stockholm, Sweden, they really, really know how to get your heart pumping by shredding. The band was formed in 2016. This is their 3rd album. It's like, let's talk about it, okay? Riffs, check. The soaring vocals, check. Epic soundscapes, check. This album has everything a stone rocker wants. Even Stonehenge would have been proud of this album. Overall, there's really, honestly, nothing to not like. I don't want to complicate things. This is just a killer album from beginning to end. One last thing. Who watched the TV show Lost? You know the smoke monster, right? That appears periodically throughout the show, and you're not really entirely sure what there's open for interpretation as to what it means, right? But nonetheless. Petition number 2. Can we please make that sound clip the background appearing every single time that smoke monster appear in the show? I mean, we digitize re-editing all the time. Let's do it. Come on, let's absolutely do it. This album, just listen to it. You're not going to be disappointed. It's just a riff machine after another, and it's really catchy, and it's just an absolutely bomb of an album. That was Cascade Immolator by album number 1. Blood of the Old Gods by Restless Spirit. This album actually, technically, was released in 2021. It's more specifically December 11th, 2021. Simply put, the beginning of the end of the beginning. We stand here at the pinnacle of where metal was formed, where it led, and where it will die. Poetry aside, for me personally, this is where metal is at its absolute best. Riffage galore, catchy soaring vocals, and melodic melodies. It does not get better. Ozzy and Black Sabbath would have been proud to know that their memory will always live on because of bands like this. This is a brand new band. It was originally formed just 2016. They actually changed their name. Originally in 2016, it was DMP, which apparently stood for Death Metal Pope. Kudos you boys for changing it. In 2018, they switched it to Restless Spirit, which was a great call. And now, being 2 albums in, they are ready. They've announced to the metal world that they are here. Both albums are in my Hall of Fame. It has all the riffs like in Haze Maze, but the catchiness, both musically and vocally, is simply next level. It's why it's the #1 album in the stoner, rock, metal, doom category. It makes you turn that grin into a smile. I could not stop listening to this album. I have listened to it hundreds of times from beginning to end. Paul Alessio is one hell of a vocalist. I mean, he can soar like an eagle, and it brings this energy. And then, of course, with the onslaught of riff after riff and the melody after melody, it's so good. And that's it. That's my my top 12 doom metal albums of 2022. The link to the playlist can be found in the description. Check back soon as I continue the rest of the albums from all the other subgenres. Graphic Metal, as always, is sponsored by Hadean, the first ever multi-sport on the Athlete League. Visit hadean.org for more information. Just keep on rocking, boys. Cheers.